Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, all 3 of my subscribers and the 10 people that actually view these videos. It's Saturday the 11th of July and it's sort of towards the end of the afternoon. It's a foggy, misty day, but all week has been like a heat wave and the week before was pretty hot as well. So it's just been a bit of a punishing couple of weeks to be working outside as a gardener. And anyone else that watches this that either gardens a lot themselves or does it as a job will know how hard it's been. Like up here in the northeast of Scotland, it's been pushing close to 30 degrees a couple of days. And I'm sure if you're down in the south of England and stuff, it'll be much worse than that. But yeah, it's been hot. It's been a while since I've posted a video to YouTube, and this is the first time I'm doing a little piece to camera chat, which feels very weird, but I'm kind of taking inspiration of this from Connor Munro. So if you ever watch Munro's Maintenance and his stuff, which is he and Ben Morrison Tree and Landscape, are definitely 2 of like the UK garden community YouTubers that I kind of take from. So I'm kind of basically stealing their stuff. But yeah, Connor Munro doing pretty much the exact same thing that I am doing, but he's obviously a few years ahead of me, doing the garden maintenance. Ben Morrison doing a lot more like landscaping and kind of bigger sort of project work. But yeah, both kind of showing me a bit of a roadmap by sharing their businesses on YouTube. So I'm hoping that by making my own stuff, it not only holds me accountable, but also produces content for social media, and you never know what opportunities could come from it in the future. So it's been a long time since I've posted. I think I last posted probably like back in March or something, or April. And I was trying a lot to record in the run up to the new season starting. I was doing like the last of, I think when I started recording the videos, I was finishing off a really big hedge trim in Stonehaven for a garden centre. And I had massively underestimated how much time that was going to take and therefore underquoted as well. So that turned out to be one heck of a job. And then kind of doing some garden clearances and some other like hedge trims, kind of rounding off like the winter season, and then preparing for the new regular maintenance season. And then that's when I kind of stopped recording because I got really busy, and I still just work by myself. So to constantly have your phone out recording videos and stuff just feels like an impossible task. And I bought this DJI Pocket 3 back towards the start of the year when I had planned to do all this recording for YouTube and thought, I'll make the videos, it'll be great, I'll make the content, it'll go on social media, and this is the first time I'm actually using it, and this is July. So just because you spend money on something doesn't mean you're actually going to use it, and it doesn't mean that it's going to make anything better or more efficient. So that is a lesson I still have to learn, because I do it as well with like equipment. I bought a big lawnmower and I hardly use it for a while. It's the new Ego 76 centimeter lawnmower, so it's like twice the width of the one that I use currently, and also does mulching and side discharge, which for me, for the bigger gardens, has been a game changer. But to begin with, because it was so big, I was a bit like nervous about using it. So I hadn't like really put it to work on any gardens. And then I took on a big garden, and it was like, it's huge. It was like over an acre of grass. So I thought, perfect, I'll start using this. And I was doing that for like a few weeks. I did a few visits for that garden, but I think he had quite high expectations for like other things as well, like weeding and stuff being cut back. I think he wanted the whole place to be immaculate all the time, but unfortunately, it's not always possible to do that every visit because you still have to leave at some point and go home. And yeah, he was getting a bit frustrated. So I just said, like, maybe I'm not able to provide you with the kind of service that you're looking for. Maybe you should try like a larger company that can throw more guys on site. So I ended up like, cancelling that guy as a customer. And there's been a few of that this season. Like, there's been people that I said yes to in like a rush to fill the diary and take on more customers and grow the business. And then as time went on, realized, okay, I've maybe said yes to things I shouldn't have. Either it's too much work, or it's the work I just don't want to do. I've underquoted it for the amount of time it really takes. And so I was a few customers that were like weeding customers, and no one likes doing it. No one likes weeding, and I don't like either. Yeah, for the amount of time it was taken versus the price I was charging, they were the least profitable customers for the business. So I had to make a cutthroat decision and just say, deciding to withdraw this service. And initially I was a bit worried about doing it, but then I sent off those emails and immediately felt like a weight was off my shoulders, because I no longer had to worry about going and doing these jobs which were kind of time consuming, not making enough money, a task that I didn't particularly enjoy, like crouching down weeding for ages. So since the start of the season, I've taken on some customers, I've lost some customers, and also by my own choice said goodbye to some customers. It can be quite hard to keep everyone happy. Like, if you've got 100 people, everyone has their own expectations, their own price point, their own kind of standard. Some people don't care at all. Some people have extremely specific wants and expectations for the garden. And the best thing you can do is try and find that out and, communicate all that to begin with. But sometimes it kind of like develops as well, and you kind of realize you've taken on like a bit of a fussy fucker, and you decide that maybe you don't want to take them on anymore. So yeah, but I think it's just the nature of the business. Like, people come and go. You try and keep everyone happy. You try and stick to the schedule, turn up on time. Like, the weather sometimes just throws a spanner in the works. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, there was a period where like we'd quite a long spell of just like wet days, and it slows down the work. And I try and keep cutting the grass, and there's been days where I've just been like, rained off, and then just catch up the next day or something. But it's a very dangerous kind of slippery slope to get into. I started speaking to Business Gateway, which is funded by the local council for this area, Aberdeenshire, in Aberdeen. We did also have Enterprise in Aberdeenshire, which was funded by the UK government, but I think, with like the change of government and stuff, they decided to cut funding and reallocate it to different areas, like more deprived areas. But now getting support from Business Gateway, had a couple of meetings with my like rep, and got signed up to the program, and it's all free. I think you get I think it's 18 months free or a year free, and then if you want to, you can choose to pay to continue or something, I think. And I think like the only requirements is that you've got to, have a commitment, a want in your business to grow it, to try and grow it past like 100 grand in revenue, and to also try and employ someone. So I think like that's kind of like their benchmark. They don't want to just support a man in a van that doesn't really want to ever grow beyond like their own wage. So I've been speaking to them, and I haven't spoken to her in a while, and that's really my fault because I haven't been pushing, but I've just been so busy. So, and it's just like, I think as well with the maintenance season, it's just like this like hamster wheel of like a fortnightly schedule. It just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, and then but before you realize it, it's the middle of summer, and you haven't done like tasks that you probably should be doing like every week or something. Like my bookkeeping just sits there for ages, and then eventually I just like log on and do it all in like a couple of hours, which is fine because it's nice and simple that I can do that. But yeah, I wouldn't want to let it just kind of run on forever like that. What's something good that's been happening since I last posted? I got a trailer. So went down to Duncan McIntosh Trailers, which is in Brecon, and I live in Inverbervie. So they fitted a tow bar to my van. I think that was back at the start of April. And then, like I pre-booked it in and also decided what trailer to get like weeks in advance. And that was all ready. So I went in for the day, got the tow bar fitted, and then went down and picked it up and got the trailer. It's just like an Ifor Williams 8x5 single axle unbraked trailer. And the main reason for that was cost. An unbraked trailer is much cheaper than a braked one. And also the towing capacity of my van, because it's like a small car derived van, it doesn't have the same capacity of like a larger van or like a pickup truck or something. So if I had gotten a braked trailer or a tipper trailer or something, it probably would have been too heavy. Like there wouldn't have been enough capacity left for much payload to take away green waste and stuff. And that's mainly what I use it for. To begin with, when I first got it, I was quite nervous driving it, driving around towing it and reversing and all the rest of it. But I've been using it more and more, and now taking it quite regularly for any job where I feel like it's going to produce more than 1 or 2 bags of green waste, because I tend to use ton or half-ton bags. And because it's just a small van, 1 or 2 bags and that's it, it's full, especially with like your equipment as well. So having the trailer, especially for bigger jobs like hedge trimming and clearances and stuff, it's just been like an absolute game changer. It saves me so much time running back and forth, because some of my customers can be like 40 minutes away. So if you imagine you're going 40 minutes to pick up 2 bags of green waste and then going back again to get another trip, it's just ridiculous to be spending that kind of time. So getting the trailer for that has been great. Another thing that I needed the trailer for was to get rid of a mountain of green waste down at the unit. I had been letting it pile up pretty much from like the start of the winter season. And then like hedge trimmings, you're just bringing bags and bags of it down. And then that big conifer hedge that I cut down at Stoney, that produced so much material. And then I got the trailer and started taking it away just towards the end of that job. But it was just so much sitting there. And I did get like a couple of skips to try and chip away at some of that stuff. But a skip is so expensive, like a 12-yard skip, which in reality probably holds the same amount as like a transit van or something. That costs like about 500 quid. A 14-yard skip, I think, is like the guts of £700. And then like there was so much waste there that I could probably have needed like 5 or 6 skips. And the trailer plus the tow bar, I think, came to about 2.5 grand. So I'll have made back the savings. The cost of the trailer will be made back in the savings of not having to buy a skip for getting rid of the green waste. So now what I've been doing is filling the trailer and trying to drive down to the council green waste site at Forfar, because it opens at 7:30 in the morning. So if I can go down there first thing for opening, empty the trailer and come back up and leave it at the unit, I'm maybe only like starting my day 20 minutes late for my first customer. And the way I kind of schedule my customer time slots, it sort of gives me a bit of breathing space for making that time back. So over the course of the day, I can probably still finish a bit early. But yeah, having the trailer has been great it's going to pay for itself just in getting rid of the green waste that I've currently got. But it's also going to mean that the green waste isn't sitting there for so long. Like I'll maybe only have like a few bags sitting until there's enough to fill a trailer and take it all away, like go once a week or something. But yeah, where the green waste sits currently is like in full view of like a public footpath and like some houses up on a hill. So for them, if they're looking at it, it's a bit of a mess. The whole like industrial site where the unit is a mess. Like there's an old camper van that's just been abandoned there. There's Like there's always like people just like fly tipping like bikes and washing machines and stuff, but it's really cheap. So I don't want to add to the neglected feeling of the site with all that green waste. So I've been trying to get rid of it and take it to the dump. But it's just hard. It's hard to find the time because you could probably take a few days off and just do trip after trip after trip. And that's like a few days where you're not earning any money and you're probably going to be having to fill your van a couple of times with diesel, and spend the whole time just driving up and down to Forfar to dump waste. So it's hard justifying taking time out of the diary and not earning money to pay for something like that. It probably would be a good idea to just do it and get it all done in one go. But I don't like the idea of getting towards the end of the month and having days where I just haven't worked. Because last month, at the start of June, we went on holiday for 10 days. But the way those 10 days fell, it was like almost like 2 weeks with the weekends. And I had to do so much work to pull people forward to see them before I went on holiday and to like pull them back so I was trying to catch up when I came back. And it's just the worst time of year to go on a holiday because all the wet weather and the heat, everyone's grass just grew like crazy. And then if I was like coming up to 3 weeks between cuts, it was just so much work to get through. And then people started getting like antsy about like their grass and needing cut and complaining they've had to cut it whilst I was away on a holiday and stuff. And so I didn't choose to go on a holiday in June for 10 days. I did say to my husband last year I only wanted to go for a week, but it's like a family holiday and I think they must have all wanted like 10 days or whatever. But yeah, it was a nice break. It was a lovely holiday. But I would much rather try and go on these holidays outside of the main growing season, like kind of March, April, when things are just kind of getting ramped up in growth, or towards the end, like October and stuff. Because if you go to the south of Spain, it's still nice there. So yeah, that's something that was going good, getting the trailer. I also got a new lawnmower, the Ego 76 centimeter Pro one, which compared to my current mower is huge. Like it's almost double the size. So for those bigger gardens, you fairly see the difference just because you're cutting twice as much grass in the same amount of time. And then also because it has a mulch setting, I don't have to bag everything. So in some gardens, I've just been like mulch cutting, and that has saved time and also on green waste. But I broke it at a customer's house. I was mowing alongside a wall, but like the wall was really low. So where the height adjustment lever for one of the wheels, it got caught under the edge of like the capping stones and then broke a spring or something within it. So it's down at like a dealer getting fixed, but they've got to like order parts and stuff. So it's been out of action for ages, but like 3 weeks that it's not been working. So I'm really noticing not having it for some of the gardens. And I definitely felt like yesterday on Friday, the first job should have been like about 2 hours, but it took 3 because I didn't have the big mower. I had to use a smaller one. So I was contemplating whether or not to buy another mower, not the 76 one, but like maybe like a 50 centimeter one, which does the mulching as well. And at least then that'll still be good for the smaller gardens where access is a bit tighter, and like the big mower is great for big gardens, but if you've got like some people have really wavy edged borders and complicated shapes and stuff, that can be really awkward with a big lawnmower because it just doesn't have like a tight turn circle. So I was contemplating getting another one, just a smaller size, because my small mower, it also had a few days where it wasn't working because the wheel assembly, it started to like fail and come loose, and it was getting wobblier and wobblier. And I'd ordered spare replacement parts, but then in one garden it just gave up, and like something within the wheel mechanism broke and it just popped off. And it's not something I could repair. It was like a gasket with ball bearings in it and stuff that I couldn't fix. So that was out of commission for a few days while I was waiting on the spare wheels to come from the dealer. So whilst this big mower is in, I've also asked them to send me another set of spare wheels just so I've got them. next time something like this happens. Because it'll happen again, it'll happen all the time. I haven't really spent a lot of money on equipment since then, and I don't really feel there's anything I need to buy. I'm looking a little bit towards winter, and I'm considering getting a wood chipper for, shredding down all the hedge trimmings and like tree and hedge reductions and stuff to like make less waste for me to take away, but also for it to be more like space efficient on space in the trailer and stuff, taking the waste away. And then also I was thinking, like, if I can just wood chip everything, maybe I can convince the customer to let me just like wood chip it into their borders or along the base of their hedges. And then that way I don't have to take so much away, which again saves me going all the way to Forfar. And then also for the winter, I was thinking of ramping up my Christmas tree collections in speaking to like garden centers and stuff and getting more people to like put my tags on the trees to sell tree collections. And then also like gritting maybe like blocks of flats and stuff where they all club together and like pay for some site maintenance. Maybe I can get them to do some gritting and stuff like that, because it's like I was okay this winter just passed. Like I kind of just always managed to make enough money to pay myself each month, but it was like tight, and it was always like, getting inquiries for jobs and going to them like 2 days after the inquiry or something. So it was never like rushed off my feet busy. And so just try to think of things to add more kind of less. I mean, it is, I suppose, weather dependent, because if you're gritting, you're relying on there being cold weather, but like things that aren't going to be like me crouching down in the dubs in a horrible winter's day, weeding someone's borders and all the rest of it. Just trying to smooth out those seasonal peaks and troughs. The Christmas trees was a good thing. Like that kept me busy for a few weeks in January. It wasn't a big money maker, not once you factor in like all like the rubbish I had to do to set up. But I also started it quite late. Like I think it was like late November when I actually started marketing it. So really I should have been doing it long before then. And also I kind of think of it a little bit like a lost leader. So something which kind of just gets people in the door. So like if you can book 100 Christmas tree collections, that's maybe people that previously wouldn't have considered you as a gardener to hire. But after you've taken the tree away, maybe like the next time they need like a hedge done or something, they'll get in touch with you. So it's kind of like spreading the word for the business as well for the growing season. So yeah, we'll see how that goes this year. I did have like a bit of a wobble. I think it was like after we came back from the holiday in June, where I was just like so stressed out and worked up about trying to get caught up and like not letting people down. And I lost a couple of customers because I was letting them down. I wasn't kind of getting back on schedule and sticking to a schedule. It was like firefighting and stuff like that. So I think my lesson because next summer we're going on a bloody holiday in July as well. And I think my lesson for that is going to be either try and pull everyone forward to make up for the time in advance, or depending on how things go between now and the start of next season, I might employ someone. So that's something I originally was thinking about doing this year, but because I switched from a sole trader to a limited company, I wanted to get on like a really good footing financially before I employed somebody and like try to grow. So I want to build up at least a 3-month emergency fund for the business, which covers all expenses, wages, the works. So that like during the winter you don't have to worry about money because you've got enough money there to cover you. Because I was switching from sole trader to limited company, I decided to like shake up kind of everything. So before I just had a sole trader bank account that all the money came in, and I was spending money out of that account as the month went on like fuel, buying tools and equipment, and then at the end of the month pay myself my wage and just hope that there was enough in the account by the end of the month to pay them my wage. Now I found that quite stressful as well, like try to juggle that kind of constantly taking money in and out of one account and then hoping you'll have enough in the pot at the end. So now I have multiple separate bank accounts because it's a limited company. I've opened up a bunch. And the first one is the income account. All the money that comes in from customers paying invoices and all the rest of it comes into that account. That then has an automated transfer every month to a second account, which is like all of your fixed overheads. So van, insurance, your road tax, your wage, everything is a fixed recurring cost comes out of the second account. The third account is like a variable expenses account. So that's like fuel, gloves, any like consumables that you might have to buy like over the course of the month, where it changes, from week to week, month to month, how much you spend. That comes out of account number 3. Account number 4 is the emergency fund with a target of 3 months of all of those expenses saved up in it. Account number 5 is a tax account. So important to start setting aside money for corporation tax and self-assessment tax, because that's all going to have to be paid unless I make no money. And then the final account number 6, is a profit account. So that should be money that just accumulates slowly over the course of the year that is kept for, either distributing to myself if I want to reward myself at the end of a year's hard work, or to reinvest into something else. Like say the next year you want to grow the business, you might want to buy another van, buy more equipment. That cash is there for that reason, rather than relying on finance, because as soon as you take out finance for vehicles and equipment, you're still paying for it 2 or 3 years later. But the lawnmower could have broken, the van could have been a nightmare from the start. So all of those things are depreciating assets. If you can avoid it, I would not use debt and finance to fund things that aren't going to be worth anything in a couple of years. If you're going to use debt, try and use it for something that's going to add value. So like if you were to buy your own unit to operate out of and stuff. But there's also the argument that, if you can take a 20 grand loan, buy a van, get it sign written, fill it with equipment, and get 1 or 2 guys in and putting it out to work, the money they generate can pay off the finance to buy it and stuff. But you've still got to attract enough customers to cover all that. So that finance payment at the start can be really stressful. I wouldn't say I'm worried about any finance payments or anything, but it would be nice, like if when you're looking at all your line items that you spend every month, it would be nice to like remove that and just have that extra money to go into the emergency fund to start with. And then later on in the year, it can go into the profit pot. So I would say splitting up the bank accounts is definitely a really good idea. I really got that mostly from my husband, from his business, because he's gone through, he's been trading now for about 5-6 years. I've been a fly on the wall for so much of what he's gone through, that I've kind of learned a lot of lessons from what he's had to deal with and problems he's had to solve. So I get to make all my own new mistakes and problems, which is great. But we're both in the same boat. We both own our own businesses and work for ourselves. So we both understand what it's like. So having things that I can steal from him is really handy, because a lot of people don't have anyone that they can take stuff from. They don't have anyone that can give them lessons on how to solve a particular problem, how to do things differently and stuff. And one thing that Stephen does really well is if he wants to solve a problem, he'll really put in the time to look into it and research it and find out about it. I don't really have the patience for that. So if there's something that he's already solved that I can apply in my business, then I'll just steal what he's done, because I know that he's probably done he's done enough work and enough research to know that it's going to be the right thing. So I trust his judgment when it comes to solving problems and dealing with things, especially when it's something that I know he's been looking into for a while. But yeah, so that's something that's been good, splitting up the bank accounts and managing money better for the business. So now I just let the income accumulate in that account over the course of the month. And then at the end, kind of it all gets transferred out. So that account should be zero in a preparation for the new month coming, because nothing gets paid out of that account. I also shared this on a Facebook group for UK garden maintenance community or something. And the amount of shtick I got from people talking about, like, saying that I was spending a fortune, this sounds like a nightmare, all this admin, blah, 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 blah. And fair enough, if you're happy enough running everything at one account and it works for you and you don't have any issues or stresses with cash flow, then cool. I just found it a bit stressful, kind of always wondering where that money was coming from at the end of the month, because it was building up, but it was also getting run down again by spending on things and like fixed costs coming out over the course of the month. So I don't know how they manage to run it properly and have like buffer cash in there as well for like emergencies, and have it all like distinguished about what's for where. I just find the separate bank accounts really straightforward, and because it's in a different account, you don't really look at it. You only really look at one or two of those, the ones that you use every day, and you kind of don't look at anything else. So you can kind of just like forget that your emergency fund is there, so you don't spend it, which is nice when you're starting out, because in the beginning, just everything wants to take money from you. Like something will break, you need to buy a new piece of equipment, you'll say yes to a job even though you don't have the equipment yet for that job. You'll see things like little tips on how to do things better, so you'll go and you'll buy something to do that. So it's a money pit at the start. So having those separate accounts to manage the cash better kind of throttles you down a little bit, and like, so you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul just because you're buying equipment and all the rest of it. So that's a positive. The trailer is a positive. That new mower is a positive. I was doing really well on social media. I'd scheduled loads of content to carry me up until like June or something, but then I was too busy, didn't check on it, and realized that it stopped posting. So I don't have any more scheduled content, and I've been trying to like post every now and again, but I don't need to post that much because I'm busy enough right now that I don't really want loads of people getting in touch every week. This week has been really bad. Like, people have been phoning and I just haven't been answering the phone. And I don't know if it's like an age thing or something, but like older customers will just phone and phone and phone, and I just don't answer the phone when I'm in someone's garden working. And then by the time that you're finished at the end of the day, it's like 5-6 o'clock and you're knackered and you just want to shower and to have your supper. I'm not going to be starting to call people back. So like another good thing is I signed up to Jobber, and that gives me like a contact form that's embedded into my website. So when someone fills that in, they're automatically imported into the job management system. And from there, they're created as a client. I can schedule a site visit, I can do a quote, I can create that as a job, can send the invoice, do all the marketing and stuff from there. So that has been fantastic as like an organizational change for the business as well, because I used to use Hubscape, which was fine. I liked it because it was a British brand, but it wasn't very powerful. The mobile app wasn't very powerful. There was a bunch of things that kind of annoyed me about it. Like, so say like you wanted to create an invoice, apparently you could do it in the platform, but you had to like create it all from scratch again. Whereas with Jobber, it's just like 2 clicks and it's like created and you can just send it. So this is like what I was looking for when I was wanting to make everything better, to reduce the amount of time I spend in front of a computer, because I don't have a lot of time. So I was wanting something where basically every step was just like another click and then it was like done. So that has saved me a lot of like admin. In assuming that people get in touch and fill in that form, then that makes it really easy. But yeah, so I've also been trying to do quite a few quote visits and booking in work. I would say I'm converting too many quotes to jobs. Like I'm winning too much work. It probably means I need to put my prices up. But I'm already like, I think I'm comparatively expensive in my area for like a sole trading gardener. But I think a lot of people are charging too little. Like, I don't know. I think some people are just like charge £20 and stick £20 in their pocket and not kind of realize about like, the cost of the business, accountants' fees, tax, and all the rest of it. I think of it as a business, completely separate from my income. I think some people don't think like that though. So they'll charge cheap to win work and not really believe in their own value that they can provide. But it's not your responsibility to price yourself so cheaply that everyone can afford you. It's your responsibility to price yourself so that your business is viable, that it can turn a profit at the end of the year. So, and that's true for every single business. If you want it for nothing, like go ask a family member to do it for you or whatever, because it's not a charity. There's enough costs and things that I've got to deal with month to month that I can't be going around doing stuff for free or for cheap just because somebody thinks it's pricey. So I don't ever negotiate on price. If someone thinks I'm a bit too pricey, then I just say, fair enough, I'm not the gardener for you, and move on. I don't really think about it too much about like price and anxiety now. Like to begin with and stuff, I did definitely be like, oh, will somebody pay that? Will somebody pay £40 for a cut or whatever? But everyone's price point's different, and you never know what one person will think is okay and what another will think is bad. I took on a new customer this week. It's actually like an older lady who, it was her son that got in touch because they live further away, and I think she had a gardener, but they've like gone and done something else now. They've stopped gardening work. And when I went out to do the first cut for her, she came out and spoke to me, and she was lovely, but she said that the last gardener charged £15 to do her garden, and I'm charging her 37. And I said to her, £15 is very cheap. And she was like, yeah, no, cost of everything's gone up. And I says, that's probably why he stopped doing gardening work, if he's charging £15 for like an hour's work or whatever, because he obviously wasn't making any money. So don't be a busy fool running about doing everything for cheap to keep people happy, because you can't please everyone. So this is just me blethering on about what I've been up to. This past week has been very, very hot, very, very challenging. I've been more or less managing to keep on schedule with my regular maintenance customers. One or two fell by the wayside. I think going down to the dump first thing in the morning to get rid of green waste, it's all good on paper, but like you're then getting to your first customer later, and then knock-on effect by the end of the day, and you're just so knackered from the heat that, like, there was one or two customers that have there's one now that they've cut their own grass. They don't need me to come this week, which is a shame because they shouldn't have to do that. It's my job. I should be doing it. And another one, which I managed to get caught up on, but and they were fine about it. They didn't care. But yeah, I'm trying to be really trying to get a much higher success rate with everything being completed on schedule by the end of the week. But it's hard. It's just some days I feel really cooked, like physically and mentally. So I think I've been speaking a lot this year about taking on an employee. I probably won't do it now that it's July. I probably won't do it now. I'll probably wait until sometime before the next season next year. But it would make such a difference to my day to have an extra pair of hands. The time spent on site could probably be almost cut in half once they get good. And I think it would, especially if they can drive, then I can, take calls and stuff when I'm in the van and that, and get better at getting back to customers and communicating. So it would definitely be better for the business. I think I'd also, because that next year I'll be going into year 3 of trading, in total, the brand. I think it would be easier to fill up a diary of work ahead of the new season starting, because there's lots of gardeners out there, like sole traders. New ones pop up every year. I was a new one that popped up, so, and just see who lasts, because it's a hard job. It's a physical job, and you're working outside in the weather, the Scottish weather, and you've got to do everything for yourself. Like there's like 100 things you have to learn to run your own business. You know, it's not just as simple as getting a mower and going out and cutting grass. Like you've got to learn marketing, you've got to be professional, you need to do your accounts, you need to keep on the right side of tax, you need to protect yourself with your terms and conditions from your customers, you need to learn about job management, customer service, and all the rest of it. So if you have previous skills, great. If it's all new to you, then there's like 100 things you have to learn, some small, some big, and it's a lot. And I think I had quite a good footing when I started working for myself, but there's still been loads I've had to learn, and there's definitely things about like my day-to-day that I could improve and do better. And I think I need to get much better at like answering the phone and being really proactive at getting back to people, and being a really good communicator, and also really sticking to my schedule and getting the jobs done. If it's like too much in a day, then I need to like change the schedule. But yeah, there's things I need to improve. I have won a couple of awards. One was the Scottish Prestige Awards, and the other one was, I can't even remember now, but basically these awards, like the companies that give them, their business model is they give you an award, you pay for like your trophy and the market and all the rest of it, and then like, you get to splash it across your social media and your website. So the awards themselves aren't necessarily like worth an awful lot, but it is nice to have like on your website, on your socials, just a little like badge of credibility. Which, I don't know how much I need that. There's a lot of people that make no effort. There's a lot of people like competitors that don't have websites. They just have a Facebook page. And even then the Facebook page is like just a picture of a leaflet, like off of just their home printer. So it's amazing how little effort some people put in, and they'll, get work and make money, and how much work others put in, and they're fighting to get every customer. So, yeah, I would say in those respects, I'm definitely like kind of in a top level in my area in terms of like website, social media kind of content and branding, and like optimizing my stuff for SEO and my Google business profile and all the rest of it. But that alone doesn't make a business. It just makes it easier for people to find you. So, yeah, still got work to do. I don't really worry about competition in my local area. But again, I'm not a huge business, so I don't need that many customers to keep myself really busy. Whereas like if you were a bigger company and you had like teams of guys, you would be stressing about trying to win every job and all the rest of it and keep everyone busy. So I don't really worry about competition. I don't worry about not winning jobs because someone else is cheaper or whatever. Yeah, I don't really think about it. I hope no one's out there bad-mouthing me. I don't bad-mouth other businesses to customers. I never say anything bad about people. I've people that I would not recommend, but I just don't mention it. Like, if someone asks for a recommendation for something, or if it's a job that I don't want to do or don't have time to do or can't do, then I'll recommend people, but I never badmouth anyone else's business, because it's a small world, karma's a bitch, and I think doing stuff like that will just come back to bite you in the ass at some point. Like, word will get around. It doesn't make you look good in the eyes of that person, like the customer, when you're bad mouthing somebody. If you're trying to be kind of a little bit above your competition, doing that sort of thing, talking like that, and being bitter, not better, is the kind of thing that is going in the opposite direction. So yeah, just have blinkers on, and as I try and just have blinkers on and kind of like forget about everyone else and just focus on trying to do a good job and trying to do a little bit better tomorrow than I did yesterday and all the rest of it. But yeah, like this year's been a struggle. As you get busier, it's really hard to maintain good standards across the board, like good standard of work, good standard of communication, good organization, all the rest of it. it's like something's got to give. You can't just get busier and busier and busier and then maintain everything. So I would say I'm probably straining a little bit just now. So I think I might have to look a little bit at pricing so that I'm don't have to work as much just now to make ends meet. And then next year, I think it's probably going to be take somebody on. And that's probably also then going to be the year that I go past the VAT threshold. So, especially if I take somebody on and have more customers to fill a diary, which doesn't bother me too much. I'd be a little bit worried about losing existing good customers if the price is going to go up by 20% because of VAT. So, just have to see if I take somebody on, how much time they save. Because if it's like, if a 1 hour job becomes a half hour job because two of us are there, you could almost justify absorbing part or most of the VAT increase because you can do twice as many customers, but then, economically that's not a smart thing to do as a business. It's a tough judgment to make. So that's kind of looking ahead, what my kind of thoughts are at the moment. And it would be great to own my own kind of unit to operate out of, but I've just not been going long enough to be able to do that. I would need to have a deposit and I would need to get like a commercial mortgage or a commercial loan to buy something. And the limited company has only existed since December, and me as a business has only been trading for coming up on 2 years. So it's no one's going to lend for that, not at any kind of interest rate that's worth having. So I want to get this next half of the season kind of going really well. I want to do good work. I want to finish everything on schedule, on time. I want everyone to be happy. I want to be getting more 5-star reviews. I think compared to my competitors, I've got a lot of 5-star reviews. So in terms of Google, that's great. I think standards, I know my standards have been sliding a little bit this season just because I've been really straining with the amount of work and just like the stress and just adapting to being the only person here to do it all. Because when you're employed and you work somewhere, you can kind of just leave it to when you come back in on Monday. You don't have to think about it. Like, you clock off, you go home, it's not your problem anymore. But when you're the business owner and you're working for yourself, you're the only one that has to do it all. So it can be a little bit lonely. Like, you've got to solve every problem, you've got to put out every fire, you've got to go and do every bit of work because you're the only one to do it. If you don't do it today, it's just sitting there tomorrow. And the thing as well with gardening is the longer you leave something undone, the worse it gets, because grass keeps growing, customers get more annoyed that you're not there. And I remember back when I first started, I used to be like, why do like sole traders and tradespeople make such a fuss about not answering the phone and getting back to people and sticking to schedules? And now I know, it's because they're busy and everything's on fire all the time. I was naive to think that I would be better straight off the bat, but I want to be better. I just need to adapt and learn and improve. So that is this week's video, this first video for a long time. Let me know if you like these sit-down chats or if you find this really boring, if this was too much of like a verbal kind of word dump rather than anything actually interesting. I'll try and force myself to record more content and be a bit more proactive with the videos and stuff. But yeah, anyway, like, subscribe, share, all that nonsense if you want to. If not, that's fine, because I don't blame you. I don't post very often and this isn't a very interesting video. But look at how long the hair is getting. It was all shaved short when you first saw it. All these golden curls. Bye.